Hi guys, Obi Dave here.
And I am Ash.
Together we are Obi Dave and I'm Ash.
Yes. Sorry, I was looking at my beautiful nails before I lose them all to more DIY.
You love doing DIY.
I do, but not when I've spent ages making my nails pretty.
We're building a big metal shed tomorrow.
We are.
So it's just
we're going to be testing out the concrete we lay and see how straight we got it, how level. That's going to be really interesting.
Well, if we notice that the shed warps a little bit and the doors don't close properly, it's back to the drawing board, unfortunately. So it's high pressure tomorrow.
I know. I mean, you've got an angle grinder. We could just try and smooth it out.
If anything, it'd be a bit low where we laid it. I think it'd be fine.
I hope so.
Right then, if you're building a shed this weekend, feel free to let us know in the comments section.
I know, send us some pictures.
What type of shed is it?
Yeah.
Ours is a 9x4 metal sort of corrugated iron shed.
Mm-hmm. It's for the bikes and some garden stuff.
There you go. Exciting stuff. They will kill you.
Who?
That's the name of the channel we're about to watch.
Oh, is it this one again?
Yeah.
Is it this one again? I really enjoyed that.
This is the one that at the end of the last one, I said that one looks interesting.
When stupidity goes wrong. That was it. You're absolutely right. I remember now. When you said it, I was sort of sat there like, wait, hold on. Are you implying something about the shed? I was like...
Imagine if I referred to myself as plural and I'm like, if the shed doesn't go up properly, they will kill you.
It will kill.
It will kill.
It will cut.
Anyway.
You'll get it if you watch Forge and Fire.
Yeah, which actually went a bit political.
Really? You said that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway. Right then, when stupidity goes wrong.
Yes.
Not sure if this is going to be fails or if it's just going to be instances of people being idiots or what.
I hope I don't see limbs being bent backwards because I can't handle that.
They don't really show that on YouTube.
Good, because that makes me so uncomfortable.
I hate it.
I hate it.
The main reason I haven't started skateboarding again in the past couple of years, which I've been dying to do, is the fact that I see so many Instagram reels of knees going the wrong way and elbows going the wrong way. And a lot of it's skateboarders, and I'm like, fuck. But then I skated for years. But
you're different when you're younger. It's the same as I remember all the rock climbing and horse riding accidents I'd had, and it didn't ever stop me. It was like, screw it, I'll just get up and carry on.
As a mid to late 30s person,
you see it and you're like,
no, but you just get fat instead and die of a heart attack because
we are gonna get super fit and healthy. But there's some things when you get older that because you're suffering the injuries from your youth, you're reminded how much it hurts later on, and you become a little bit more nervous about revisiting that pain.
Well,
because I've dislocated shoulders, hips, ankles.
I keep injuring myself doing nothing.
I know. It's true.
Broken ribs going to a gig. Anyway, I'm not starting skateboarding again anytime soon for a different reason, but I can't say why just yet.
Oh, I know. Secret things.
It's big though. It's very big. Right then, when stupidity goes wrong. Should we do it?
Yeah.
Number 13. Wayne Roth. In November of 1997, Pennsylvania man Wayne Roth was at the home of his friend Roger Croteau, who had a pet cobra. Roth decided that he wanted to play with the highly venomous reptile. He reached into the tank, but the cobra perceived him as a threat and bit the 38-year-old as he picked it up. In spite of his friend's warnings and against what most would argue as common sense, Roth didn't go to the emergency room. Instead, he believed that he'd be able to withstand the reptile's venom, reportedly telling his friend, "I'm a man, I can handle it." Instead of the hospital, Roth went to a bar where he had a few drinks and boasted to other patrons about having just been bit by a cobra. The animal's venom attacks the central nervous system, but it's generally rather slow acting. In spite of Roth's belief in his masculine imperviousness, he ended up dying a few hours later. Number 12.
What an absolute knobhead.
Yeah, Darwin Awards, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, why?
Because I'm a man. I can take a venomous snake bite. I'm not a bitch.
A real man knows not to do that.
Real men know how to ask for help once in a while. You know, it's okay to be injured, hurt, sad, upset, whatever.
Exactly. No.
Fucking hell, mate. Jesus Christ. Wouldn't you, as a pet, if you've got a pet venomous snake, don't they get fanged or something? Like,
no,
do something to stop them?
No, that's really cruel. No, but they do take the venom out and try and obviously deplete it because it takes a little while to rebuild the venom.
So they get them to bite like a cup or something like that.
Yeah. But no, you don't. Don't
have a deadly venomous snake in your apartment.
But you can build a relationship and trust with them. That's the difference. It's like you heard him say it perceived him as a threat. That's the difference.
Do you know how long it takes cats to eat their owners once they die?
I don't want to know, but gross.
It's about 24 hours.
Gross.
So you don't have a relationship with your snake, your cat.
It's the same with any pet.
Dogs will wait till they're starving at least, but cats will just be like, eyeballs.
Because the cat's smarter, it's got to live. Dogs are stupid.
Because cats are a bastard, man.
Stephen Winfrey. On New Year's Day 2015, British man Stephen Winfrey was hunting for rabbits near his home in Doncaster, South Yorkshire. On January the 2nd, a passerby found the 50-year-old man with half his body sticking out of a rabbit hole. Winfrey's head was inside, while only his legs and torso were visible. The man had been dead for several hours. The ferrets he'd been using to hunt were found in bags while his dog was discovered tied to a tree nearby. Next to the man's lifeless body was a mound of soil and a dead rabbit. Judging by the scratch marks on the ground, Winfrey had struggled to get out, but his efforts were to no avail. He'd succumbed to asphyxia after sticking his head inside the hole and becoming stuck. Number 11. Daniel Kaluuya.
It's proper shit one, that, isn't it?
That's awful, but also his poor ferrets are just in a bag.
Fuck the ferrets.
No, he's an idiot. Sorry.
You never think that sort of thing's going to happen until you find yourself in a situation where
you never put yourself in a situation where you would get stuck. I've seen this before where people have put their head through bars. It's like, think about the logistics of it.
Yeah.
Think about what you're doing. It's the same as we've been, hunting back home, and you don't go down the hole. You make the hole bigger. It's like and you've got ferrets to go and flush the rabbit out. So why? Why was he reaching inside?
Have you seen the story of the guy that went potholing in America and then got stuck?
What's potholing?
Going through caves.
That freaks me out. It makes me feel... I'm not even claustrophobic and it freaks me out. I think The Descent is what ruined me. Have you seen that movie?
That's a great movie. Yeah, it's scary though. It's proper scary. There's a certain story that I'm going to have to get us to watch a video about.
It's going to make me so uncomfortable.
That's the point.
Oh, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Uber. On January the 14th of 2021, a teenager from Benadibeli region in the Democratic Republic of Congo died after striking a soccer ball filled with hardened concrete. The team that 18-year-old Daniel Kaluuya played for had brought the ball and intended to use it to prank their opponents. However, the players then decided to warm up using the concrete ball and to test their abilities to kick it. Kaluuya called for a header and his teammate passed accordingly. The teenager struck the ball with his head and the impact inflicted severe injuries. Kaluuya died as a result, while the player who passed the ball to him reportedly faced charges.
I'm not surprised.
Number 10. Quimby.
I'm not surprised he faced charges. You can't hoof a concrete-filled football.
I don't think he hoofed it, babe. You couldn't kick it.
If it's head height...
No, he would have thrown it. They were practicing, so it would have just been a throw.
Even so...
That's why he probably was charged.
You knowingly throw a concrete ball at someone's head. That's manslaughter minimum.
It is, and I know that, but they're teenagers. We all did stupid things as teenagers.
Someone does that to one of my kids, I'm not going to be like, they're just teenagers. I'm going to be like, that idiot threw a concrete ball at my kid's head.
But in general, why were you filling the ball with concrete? Why was that?
Stupid idea,
so stupid.
Gilotti. On June the 2nd of 1997, teenager Quimby Gilotti died in an accident involving 32 other students from California's Napa High School. They were on a senior class trip to Concord's Waterworld, USA. The students wanted to see how many of them could fit on a single section of the 40-foot-high Banzai Pipeline water slide. By piling into it, they subjected the attraction to weight forces 3 times greater than those for which it had been designed. A section of the slide broke open and twisted upside down as it fell, sending students plummeting to the ground. 18-year-old Gilotti died while over a dozen students were hospitalized as a result of the accident. Number 9.
I mean, that's awful. I mean, we used to do it as cousins. Like, there was a water slide in Kariba, and we used to go on holiday every year, and we'd all latch on to each other, but no more than 3 or 4.
Yeah.
32. Like, why did the attendant allow that? Or
there's negligence of play
there's
there.
definitely negligence.
But also, like, there's got to be a bit of common sense.
Well, yeah, because like you think about the weight, but
Someone held it up, and then people are piling in, and they're all holding it on one panel.
Jesus, can you imagine?
It's proper
so
grim,
stupid and awful.
Mauled by Bengal tigers. In May of 1999, 2 elderly German tourists were mauled to death by 3 Bengal tigers at a wildlife park in Spain's Alicante province. The unnamed married couple, both reported as being in their 70s, ignored the warnings issued by staff at Safari El Virgil. The park's safety guidelines stated that visitors should drive on the grounds with their windows rolled up. Signs written in multiple languages informed the couple that they were in a dangerous area and under no circumstances were they to exit their vehicle. Even though their lives were at stake, they still got out of their car. Before long, 3 massive Bengal tigers pounced on them. The felines swiftly inflicted devastating neck injuries, to which the man and his wife would later succumb. Number 8.
Think they did that on purpose?
No, the unfortunate thing is and I've seen this a lot in Zimbabwe, is because you would warn like foreigners and things and tourists, the wildlife is not to be messed with.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks they know better, and like they maybe have a couple of close calls and think that they're invincible or whatever. It's like when my dad and I went canoeing down the Zambezi, and okay, it's not as serious as obviously like a Bengal tiger, but we have these yellow-billed kites, and it's obviously a big hawk almost. Right. And every time we had breakfast, this obviously kite was buzzing over the top over the Weber, waiting to get something. And this American tourist on his honeymoon picked up a piece of bacon every so often and would throw it. And we were just like, please stop feeding the wildlife. It's just going to cause a problem, and you're going to get injured. And sure enough, by day 3, when he went to reach over, this kite came straight down and went to take it out of his hands, and it's so stupid. They think it just took the bacon. No, but it's just like that. It could have been worse because those talons are massive, and it could have caused a huge injury. But then now this bird is now going to cause problems for anybody else around the area.
I think that's one of the issues, isn't it? You don't want the animals associating humans with getting fed or anything like that, because
that's it. It was a safari game park, obviously in Alicante, and obviously they associate humans with being fed. 2 people get out of a vehicle, what do they think that's going to happen?
Happens all the time. I've seen so many videos of people getting out of cars and safaris to get pictures and tigers, lions, bears, absolutely everything. I've seen loads of videos of people.
Did you hear about the guy who climbed into a zoo enclosure with a lion to get a selfie and got mauled recently?
Didn't they shoot a lion as well?
They do. It's and it's not the animal's fault.
It's not.
People being stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, leave the wildlife alone. They are not fluffy and cute pets. Sorry.
It's fine.
It's had a lot
Explosive selfies. In January of 2015, 2 young men traveling in Russia's Ural Mountains found a live grenade and decided to take a selfie with it. Some sources report that they discovered the explosive weapon without a safety pin, while others claim that they'd pulled the pin out specifically for the selfie. Whatever the case might have been, a grenade without a safety on is extremely dangerous, as this means it's armed and ready for use. Both men were instantly obliterated as the grenade went off in their faces. Only the phone with the picture remained and served as evidence of how they died. In 2017, another grenade selfie went horribly wrong. Russian man Alexander Chechich had sent photos to a friend of him holding the armed explosive in his hand. It's believed that the man couldn't put the safety pin back in, at which point the weapon went off, killing Chechich by tearing his body in half. Number 7.
It didn't look like there was you pull the pin and then when you throw
you release the timer.
The thing pings off it.
Isn't that the timer, isn't it? Because that's the hold that stops it, obviously, that still holds it in place as if the safety thing is there. And then you release.
The thing is, you don't know what the fuse is either, because I know they can put different fuses on grenades, can't they? So it could be 1 second, 10 seconds. Keep it, what? Fuck, yeah, no. There's I want to say it's in the Peak District. It's either the Peak District or the Lake District. There's a bomb that never went off.
Yeah.
That people clean their boots on.
It was a lady in her front house. She thought it was an ornament. And it was an active explosive. Yeah, they'd had it for 20 years or something.
No, it's not in someone's house though. It's on a walk. It's on a proper hike that people do.
Oh, I thought you were talking about...
No, just a bit of the metal's been sticking up for decades, and it's where everyone scrapes their boots when they're when they're walking through the gate.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were referring to the couple that recently had like the explosive removed because someone walking past, like an ex-military guy, picked up on it. But this couple thought it was like decoration, and they'd
in the garden.
Yes.
Yeah, I did see that one actually. Yeah.
And they were actually upset when the bomb disposal took it away. It's like, are you stupid?
A live bomb in your garden. That was like a World War II bomb or something.
It was, yeah.
Clifford Ray Jones. In 2016, Detroit man Clifford Ray Jones died in a car crash under rather unusual circumstances. He was watching an X-rated movie on his phone while driving down I-75 without wearing pants. Jones's seatbelt wasn't fastened, and the roof on his 1996 Toyota was open. At some point, the 58-year-old had become too distracted and crashed into a roadway ramp. His vehicle rolled and Jones was ejected through the sunroof, sustaining fatal injuries. Upon reaching the crash site, one Michigan State Police lieutenant referred to the incident as the strangest thing he'd ever encountered on the roadway.
I shouldn't have laughed. It's awful of me, but...
He kind of does. I won't say deserved to. He was kind of asking for it, wasn't he?
It's more the thing is, like, if you believe in the afterlife, can you imagine looking down going, that's my reason for dying?
Can you imagine just seeing yourself in a mirror doing something like that, and you'd be like, what have I become?
What is wrong with you? Like, like you get to the pearly gates and they're like, close the gates. Nah. And they're like, why? And he's like, watch.
Yeah, we have different gates for your kind.
Yeah. Yes.
Number 6, David Monk. British man Dave.
Also, sorry, your poor family. Can you imagine all your friends and family knowing that your son did that?
I always thought he was a bit of a wanker. You know everyone was saying that. You'd absolutely have to. You'd have to.
Oh my God.
David Monk died in the Italian Alps in 2008 from an accident involving an improvised sled. 46-year-old Monk and a few of his friends had removed some of the foam barriers that were used as protection at the end of the run. The men then used them as sledges and sped down the ski slope in a dark, ironic twist. The men crashed into the very fence from where they'd earlier removed the foam barriers. Monk struck a post with his head and was killed instantly. 2 of his friends were also badly injured, but they survived. Number 5.
Dickheads.
I know, and also the irony, it's like literally the safety thing that was meant to save your life is what killed you.
I went skiing with school when I was in high school. I was about 14 or something like that. And booze was widely available because of, like, we were in France, I think it was. And,
right.
For some reason, you could just, at 14, just go and buy bottles of vodka, bottles of wine, whatever you wanted.
Different cultures, I get it.
Everyone got smashed. And later on in the hotel, you see one of the teachers running in with one of the kids in his arms. And, like, they bought plastic sleds and walked up the piste and then come bombing down and come straight into a wall, and he broke his leg. And it's like there's booze involved, there's stupidity. It's like that sort of thing must happen all the time, and it's drunk Brits that are doing it most of the time. I won't mind betting.
I feel bad for teachers for things like that. Jesus.
Yeah,
how do you explain to you, like, the parents when you go back?
It may have been an arm, or like, I can't remember exactly what it
could have been a neck.
Well, it could be dead. Yeah. Madness.
Jose Tony Alvarez Umanzor. On the 4th of July 2020, a man from Washington, D.C. died in the aftermath of a mishap with fireworks. 33-year-old Jose Tony Alvarez Umanzor was reportedly holding a commercial-grade firework above his head. The mortar-style pyrotechnic device was described as being so powerful that it was deemed illegal in the state. Nevertheless, Umanzor held it above his head after lighting it. Once ignited, the base of the firework ejected downwards, causing critical injuries to the man's head and upper body. Umanzor was rushed to the hospital where he was ultimately pronounced dead.
Just holding it upside down.
Number 4. Sucre.
No, so what they were saying is it just obviously as the fire sparks and everything releases from the bottom to do the propulsion, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. Because even when you put, like, fireworks on the ground, it scorches the ground.
Oh, yeah.
We just don't see it because none of us are stupid enough to pick it up.
That made it seem like the firework went off but went down instead of going up.
No, but he said it was like a mortar, so it's like obviously the backfire, isn't it? Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe. That's how I'm imagining it.
Wow.
Ram Yadav. In January of 2021, Indian man Sukram Yadav died after what was described as an air compressor enema. The incident occurred in the Katni district of the Madhya Pradesh state. Yadav had been suffering from constipation and asked his friend, 35-year-old Vino Thakur, to help him resolve the matter by inserting an air compressor nozzle into his rectum.
Sure.
Thakur did as asked, and within seconds Yadav's stomach swelled up and he became unconscious. He was rushed to the emergency room and later transferred to a different hospital, where doctors performed 3 surgeries in an attempt to save his life. Unfortunately, the man succumbed to his extensive internal injuries. Even though the matter was attributed to ignorance rather than malevolence, Thakur was arrested by the police. Number 3.
That's a decent story that he fabricated to tell the police when they came.
Can you imagine?
He was constipated and he said,
please fill my stomach with air.
That's better than we were having some weird kinky sex games with an air compressor and, would you believe it? Would you believe it? Compressed air up the old bomb hole.
I don't understand why you would think going that way will help it go that way.
I don't think he did. If you were that stupid, you'd put it down your mouth and try and fire it out your back end. Like, what are you trying to achieve there?
I don't know. Maybe like open up the space, because like when I was studying radiography and we used to do barium enemas, obviously patients would first of all obviously go through days of laxatives to clear their bowels before we did images, but you would pump air into their large intestine so that it obviously gave more space and a clearer image. But it was a small amount, and it was hand pressured, not a freaking air compression.
Not something designed to blow up car tyres. No, that's a.
You think that's?
They were experimenting. That's my opinion on that one.
Or he thought it was a joke and just shoved it up his ass.
I think they were experimenting. I don't think you can just quickly do that to someone. I think they've got to be a bit.
Depends on what they were doing, like working. Like maybe he was under a car with his legs up. You know, when you're on like those little wheelie things and you can't get out. I
like how you think the best of people. I think they were.
I just think innocent till proven
guilty. I think they were doing some bomb play.
Cynthia Covert. In May of 2020, Cynthia Covert was visiting a friend on Kiowa Island near Charleston, South Carolina. At some point, the 58-year-old beautician saw an alligator near the pond behind her friend's house. Covert decided that she wanted to pet the beast, which is frequently mentioned among the deadliest predators in North America. Her friend warned Covert that she'd witnessed the alligator snatch a deer from the water's edge only a few days prior. The woman replied that she didn't look like a deer and proceeded with her plan of touching the animal. It was still immersed in the water when Covert bent over and reached out to pet it. In an instant, the beast lunged at the woman, clamped on her leg, and dragged her in the pond. A struggle ensued, from which Covert emerged, albeit briefly. She only had the chance to jokingly claim that she won't do that again before the alligator bit her once more. The attack ended with the beast dragging the woman underwater and drowning her. It was later reportedly killed by local wildlife officers, even though it was argued that the beast had simply done what was inherent to its predatory nature.
I understand why they do it though, because once it's had that taste, it will start to target, because it seems like an easy prey. We are easy prey, sorry.
They've got full-blown lizard brain anyway. I think they are predators. They don't differentiate between us and deer and anything.
No, definitely not.
No, I literally saw a video last week of a guy get killed by one. And it was a guy that's like a spiritual leader that was immune to him, and he's tapping on the water.
You told me about this.
He's submerged up to there, and he's just tapping on the water, and then it's like a scene out of Jaws.
I mean, there's a guy in Brazil who has like this relationship with a croc, doesn't he? And he's like, he swims with them, and it's friends with him or something, and he raised it.
You are until you're not.
Well, this is it. It's like we have a place in Zimbabwe called the Crocodile Farm, because crocodile meat is, very favourable back home. And it was partly conservation, so 50% was sent for meat and skin and obviously things like that, and the other 50% was released back into the wild. And they had one which was called Yellow Man, and he was like an albino croc, and he had half of his bottom jaw missing and stuff. And they used to just mess around with him. But obviously he couldn't bite because he's missing half of his bottom jaw.
Just come here.
But then they had another one which was like, I think he was like a 6-7 foot croc. I can't remember. He was massive. And the one year as a kid, all I remember is like lots of screaming and things. And apparently the guy who'd been like obviously poking this croc to, make the crowd happy, got his arm nommed and the death roll happened and off came the arm.
Yeah.
So it's just don't poke the wildlife, people. Leave the wildlife alone.
And stop putting air compressors up your bums, you weirdos.
Today's topic was requested by David Chalmers and Forever Army 0482. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Henry Hill Jr. In November of 2020, a man from Kershaw County, South Carolina, died in a fire under what was deemed as entirely preventable circumstances. 68-year-old Henry Hill Jr. had become trapped in his trailer home when it caught fire in the early hours of the morning. Hill and 2 others managed to get out. However, according to the responding firefighters and witnesses from the scene, Hill went back inside the flaming structure to retrieve a pair of pants. The man was found dead on the bedroom floor after succumbing to the intense heat and smoke inhalation. Number 1. Michael Anderson Godwin. In the 1980s, Michael Anderson Godwin was convicted of murder and sentenced to death via the electric chair. However, that verdict was eventually overturned on appeal, and Godwin was given life in prison in 1983. Still, Godwin would end up dying of electrocution several years later. In 1989, the 28-year-old was sitting on a steel toilet in his cell. At the same time, he was trying to repair a pair of headphones that were still connected to his TV set. Godwin would make the fatal mistake of biting into the cable while trying to split and reconnect it. He sustained a massive electric shock and was found dead in his cell at the Central Correctional Institution in South Carolina. The combination of conducting metal and the frayed cable essentially meant that Godwin had died on an electric chair of his own inadvertent design. Thanks for watching. What's the dumbest thing that...
Oh dear.
That's bad. That's so bad.
Do you know, I love that we both had nothing to say about the guy who'd went back into the burning trailer to get a pair of pants.
You don't need to say anything
It's
about
nothing
it.
to say. It's
Even if you got your wang hanging out at that point, you just stand there naked and be alive.
just put your hands around it, cup it.
Imagine overturning the death sentence, death by electric chair, to get electrocuted on the toilet, though.
What?
And what sort of situation have they got where the current from the TV to the headphones is such that if it was earthed, it's going to kill you?
It's an interesting question.
Something's off there, isn't it?
No, it depends on, I suppose, how the circuit's running, and he might have cut the neutral wires and the earth wires because he was biting into. He was trying to split. But you don't know what kind of headphones they're referring to. It was plugged into his TV. When did they have headphones in a TV?
Always. You can plug these into those TVs.
Can you?
Yeah, there's always been headphone outputs. It's the same as...
Even with the big old static TVs. Because this is in 1983, babe.
Was that 83?
It was actually 1990 because it was 7 years after it was overturned. So it was overturned.
Yes, in the 90s, TVs had headphone outputs.
Yeah, but probably not in prison. They wouldn't have spent that kind of money on prison.
TVs have had them for years because that's how you used to attach speaker systems to TVs.
We didn't have a TV like that.
Before you had the the optical outputs that you can do 5.1 surround sound and all that sort of stuff.
We didn't
There
have
was
that.
literally your bog standard headphone outputs. So you could take the headphones out of a Walkman and put it into your TV. I grew up with that when I was a kid.
We didn't.
If I wanted to watch TV in my bedroom at night when I was old enough to have one, I could plug headphones into it and sit there watching it.
We didn't. Not until Dad bought that, what we class as the fancy TV, and then he plugged the stereo in.
I bet they've still got headphone outputs. And
Well, the new ones do. The flat ones do.
No,
I'm
but
talking
don't-
about the big, static ones. You know, the one you used to bang on it if it didn't work.
Don't forget the headphones I was using up until recently. The cables were completely frayed and I used to just sit here doing that.
Yeah, but the cables were still intact. He was trying to split
I was
the
touching
actual
copper.
wires. But you're not on,
Next to a distribution board there.
it's still not, touching it.
Metal microphone there.
But again, you're not touching it. It wasn't in your mouth with moisture and on a toilet, which was metal, 2 huge conductors of electricity, and your whole body is literally water.
Do you know how people allegedly void bowels when they die?
It's from South Park.
No, but I've heard people say that anyway. I've heard morticians say that.
Well, because everything relaxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the right place for it, wasn't he?
He wouldn't have relaxed. Everything would have clenched if he was being electrocuted.
And then once he slumps over and it's all in the toilet.
You don't know. He was probably dead while it was still electrocuting him. They would have had to kick him off the toilet.
You'd like to think a circuit
Or
breaker
pull the circuits, yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember, that's why they say don't touch someone who's been electrocuted. Either turn the power off or find something inert to push them off so that it breaks that connection because everything clamps.
Yeah.
He was still getting electrocuted after he was dead, babe. Oh, God, that's horrible.
You awful person.
It's science, it's true. I'm sorry.
Shouldn't be funny. You shouldn't laugh at that sort of thing, but
it's stupid.
It's so ironic.
It's
so
awful.
ridiculous.
I do feel sorry for people who lose their lives. I really do, and it shouldn't happen.
I mean, he was on death row, and then it got commuted to a life sentence. He's done something pretty bad. He's probably killed people with a sentence like that. So let's not feel too sorry for him just yet.
No, but I'm talking about the rest of the ones we've watched.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how I feel about the guy who went back into his trailer, and then the woman with the goddamn croc or alligator, and the couple with the tigers. Like
Darwinism.
Seriously.
Circle of life.
Leave the wildlife alone. I'm sure a lot of the Americans will agree with this because people who go to Yellowstone Park trying to get a selfie with a moose or a bear or like a buffalo.
Yeah.
It's like, leave the wildlife alone, people.
Do you know something that really triggers me when
What?
people talk to me? That you weren't doing it to me then, but if you did, it triggers me. Is clapping when you're making a point. Someone ever does that in my face. Why don't you think that?
I'm sorry, I do it all the
It
time.
makes my blood pressure go through the roof,
That's
and
it.
I want to full blown go postal. And
I've never done it to you.
You've never? No. I'm just saying. Even just seeing you do it to the camera and then be looking at the camera, I'm like.
I'm sorry if I triggered anybody. I didn't know. I just get really irate about people messing with wildlife.
So it's this thing people do to make a point.
Yeah.
And it's like, stop forcing me to take the point.
Sorry.
I find it frustrating.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't do it to me. It's fine.
No, I know, but... And I'm sorry to everybody
if you
else.
tried doing it to me, I'd rugby tackle you.
Mean?
Yeah.
Mean.
In a nice way. Strong cuddles and all that. Right then. Let us know what you thought of them in the comments section. And make sure you like and subscribe as always. And we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.